Here's something most gardeners never hear. While everyone crowds around tomato starts and pepper seedlings every spring, some of the most profitable crops don't even show up on those nursery benches. And that's not an accident. A handful of overlooked plants and indoor-friendly crops can turn $10 in seeds into hundreds, sometimes even over $1,000 of real value over a season. Not by farming acres, not by buying fancy equipment, but simply using tiny pockets of space families already have. And the best part? Some of these crops grow when the rest of the garden is asleep. Some grow in a closet on a single shelf, and others are so rare that chefs literally reserve them months ahead. Today, we're walking through 9 of the most interesting, dependable, small space-friendly, high-value crops you can grow at home, many of which your local garden center will never tell you about. So if you've ever wondered how to make a small backyard, or even just a corner of the kitchen quietly pay you back, you're in exactly the right place. Hey friends, welcome back to Family Yard Kitchen, where we explore steady, simple ways to grow real food for real families, without overwhelm, without hype, and without turning your yard into a full-time job. For most of us, groceries have gotten more expensive. Space is tight, time is limited, and the idea of your garden actually offsetting some of your food budget might feel like wishful thinking. But the truth is, when you pick the right crops with high value, low competition, and reliable demand, even the smallest spaces can start working a little harder for your home. Now, when we talk about profit, we're not talking about quitting your job or becoming a commercial farmer. We're talking about the kind of realistic wins that matter to families. Reducing grocery bills, paying for weekend activities, funding next season's soil and seeds, or simply building a little cushion of self-reliance. And every crop on today's list supports the yard kitchen loop our channel is built around. Grow it, use it, share it, or sell a bit extra. We'll keep this grounded with honest price ranges, simple explanations, and a couple light safety reminders for anyone considering selling their harvest. Nothing overwhelming. So let's start with the fastest crop of all. A crop that goes from seed to harvest in days, not months, and can be grown in a kitchen, a closet, or a laundry room. The fastest path from seed to cash. If you want a crop that delivers results almost immediately, microgreens are the perfect starting point. Think of them as tiny bursts of flavor and nutrients, plants harvested just a week or two after they sprout. Picture a simple shelf with a few trays under inexpensive lights. Nothing fancy. Yet in that tiny footprint, you can grow trays of sunflower shoots, radish greens, pea shoots, or spicy mixes that chefs and home cooks absolutely love. Here's why they're so powerful. They mature in 7 to 21 days. They sell at premium prices because customers buy small, fresh servings. A single rack running about 20 trays can bring in hundreds of dollars per month once you find steady buyers. And unlike outdoor crops, they grow in any season. Rain, snow, heat waves, it doesn't matter. For families, microgreens are one of the easiest ways to start generating income or simply offset grocery costs. Kids can help sow the seeds and mist the trays. You can scale up slowly, tray by tray, as your confidence builds. And the best part? Microgreens make the perfect bridge crop. While your slower, longer-term crops like berries, saffron, or wasabi are still establishing themselves, microgreens keep the harvest and the income flowing. Year-round harvests from spaces you didn't even realize were useful. Now let's move just a few feet away, into the garage, basement, or even an unused closet, and talk mushrooms. Oyster mushrooms are one of the most space-efficient, profitable, and surprisingly simple crops a family can grow. Imagine pale, fan-shaped clusters of mushrooms spilling from bags or blocks on a metal shelf. They look delicate, but the economics behind them are strong. A small indoor setup can produce mushrooms in about 6 weeks, and fresh oyster mushrooms often sell for $12 to $20 per pound at farmers markets or directly to restaurants. They're fragile, which means grocery stores rarely carry them in top condition. That gives local growers, yes, even very small ones, a huge advantage. For families, mushrooms shine because they're independent of weather, compact, fast, and suitable for winter when outdoor beds take a break. They do ask for cleanliness and good airflow, but the learning curve is manageable. And once you harvest your first flush, it's hard not to fall in love with how much food and income a few square feet can give back. Tiny flowers, one of the highest value spices on Earth. If microgreens and mushrooms are the fast-lane crops, saffron is the slow, steady investment that quietly builds value over time. Each fall, small purple crocus flowers open for just a short window. Inside each bloom are 3 deep red threads, the saffron stigmas, and those delicate strands are what make saffron the most expensive spice on Earth by weight. You can start with a handful of bulbs, often just $1 or $2 each, and plant them in late summer. They don't need rich soil, just good drainage and sunlight. And once they're in, the bulbs multiply year after year, turning one small patch into a larger one over time. Here's the honesty piece. Saffron is a 2 to 3 year journey before you see meaningful returns. The first year yield is tiny, almost symbolic. But by the second or third year, as bulbs multiply underground, the harvest grows dramatically. That patience is exactly why nurseries don't promote it, because they can't sell you new plants every year. But for families, the long game pays off. A compact 10 by 10 bed can eventually produce saffron worth hundreds of dollars annually. There's another advantage too. Saffron fraud is surprisingly common. Many saffron products on store shelves are mixed with fillers or dyed herbs. When customers or local chefs know your saffron came straight from your backyard, harvested, dried, and packed by hand, that authenticity becomes part of the product's value. It's small, elegant, patient, and quietly powerful. A superfood you've seen dried, but almost no one has tried fresh. If you've only ever tasted goji berries out of a bag from the health food aisle, the fresh version might surprise you. Fresh gojis taste bright and sweet, with a little tang, more like a cherry tomato crossed with a cranberry. But here's the real magic. Fresh goji berries don't ship well. That's why stores almost never carry them. Big agriculture grows them for the dried market because that's the only way to transport them. And that shipping weakness, it becomes your strength. At farmers markets, fresh gojis commonly sell for $15 to $30 per pound, retail, not wholesale, because they're rare and customers immediately recognize the nutritional value. A single mature shrub produces pounds of berries each year, and the plant is perennial, meaning you plant once and harvest for many seasons. And they also fit real family life. Drought tolerant once established, handle poor soil better than many fruits, hardy across a wide range of climates, zones 4B to 9B, and minimal pest and disease pressure. And unlike blueberries or raspberries, goji shrubs don't demand perfect soil. They're forgiving, they're simple, and they're a conversation starter at every market table. Fresh goji belongs in the "why didn't I grow this sooner" category. Bright orange berries, cold hardy shrubs, a wellness industry star. Sea buckthorn looks like something out of a winter postcard, silver green leaves and clusters of vivid orange berries that cling to the branches into early winter. These shrubs don't just survive tough conditions, they prefer them. Poor soil, drought, cold down to -40 degrees Fahrenheit? Sea buckthorn handles it. A mature female shrub can produce 10 to 15 pounds of berries per year, and the value isn't just in the fresh fruit. The berries are packed with vitamin C, often 10 times more than an orange, and contain rare omega fatty acids. Commercial-scale growers are rare in North America, which means supply is extremely low. Customers who know sea buckthorn, chefs, wellness-focused families, skincare makers, actively look for local sources. You do need both male and female plants for fruit, but one male can pollinate multiple females. And once established, the shrubs ask for very little, just space, sunlight, and time. For families wanting a resilient, low-maintenance, high-value perennial, sea buckthorn is a standout. The dessert fruit that creates instant repeat customers. If you've never grown ground cherries, picture small golden fruits wrapped in papery lantern-like husks. When they're ripe, they simply drop to the ground. That's where the name comes from. Break one open and the flavor hits you with a mix of pineapple, mango, and tomato. Sweet, tropical, almost addictive. This is the kind of crop that once someone tastes it at your market table, they immediately buy a pint or 3 and come back the next week asking for more.
A $3 to $4 seed packet gives you dozens of seedlings, and each plant produces hundreds of fruits over a long season. Fresh ground cherries usually sell for $4 to $8 per pint at farmers markets, and because they're unfamiliar yet delicious, they draw a lot of curiosity. A quick climate note for honesty. Ground cherries do best in zones 5 to 9. They need a relatively long season, so northern growers often start seeds early indoors to beat the first frost. As for care, if you can grow tomatoes, you can grow ground cherries. They handle heat, shrug off drought once established, and rarely struggle with pests. For families who enjoy baking or preserving, they're a dream. Ground cherry jam, pie filling, or mixed fruit preserves can become a signature item, something customers can't find anywhere else. An herb with a fragrance so clean and bright it practically sells itself. Brush your hand against a lemon verbena plant, and the scent that lifts off the leaves is unforgettable. Pure lemon, but softer, more floral, with a depth that real lemons don't quite capture. That fragrance is why chefs, tea blenders, bakers, and mixologists cherish it. You can start with a single plant for around $10, and that one plant can provide fresh bunches all season. Those bunches typically sell for $5 to $10 each, but the real treasure is in the dried leaves. When dried carefully, lemon verbena holds its aroma for more than a year and sells at premium prices. It fits beautifully into family life, grows well in containers, can overwinter indoors in cold climates, and rewards regular harvesting with more fragrant growth. Value-added ideas include herbal tea blends, lemon verbena sugar, infused honey, bath salts, or sachets. Nurseries rarely highlight lemon verbena because it isn't showy and doesn't scream, "Buy me." But once people know what it is, they come searching for it, and you become one of the few local sources. For families who enjoy tea in the evening or baking on weekends, lemon verbena quickly becomes more than a crop. It becomes a ritual. The rare crop chefs will reserve in advance, but not for beginners. Real wasabi is one of the most valuable specialty crops in the world. Not the bright green horseradish paste most of us see at sushi restaurants, but true Wasabia japonica, a plant with a slow-growing rhizome that delivers incredible flavor. Complex, clean, spicy, and almost sweet. Fresh wasabi can sell for astonishing prices, and even the leaves and stems have culinary value. But here's the honest truth, and it's important. Wasabi is extremely difficult to grow. It needs steady temperatures between 50 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit, deep shade, constant moisture, excellent drainage, and patience. 18 to 24 months to reach harvest size in most backyard conditions. So many growers attempt wasabi and fail. That's normal. This is a crop for gardeners who enjoy experimentation or who have a naturally cool, shady, moist microclimate, perhaps near a water feature, forest edge, or north-facing side of the house. So why keep it on this list? Because when wasabi does succeed, the reward is truly special. Chefs will often reserve future harvests, and the rhizomes can command prices that dwarf almost all other crops. For a family with just the right corner of the yard and a willingness to wait, wasabi can become that rare, fascinating plant that sets your garden apart. The gourmet winter green that grows when everything else sleeps. Mosh, also called corn salad or lamb's lettuce, is a tiny, tender European salad green that thrives in weather most plants would sulk in. Picture small, deep green rosettes growing quietly in the cool months long before lettuce has bolted and kale has slowed down. This little plant is a treasure for families because it fills the off-season gap. In many climates, you can sow mosh in late fall, winter in milder regions, and early spring. When your garden looks bare, mosh is busy. At farmers markets, it typically sells for $10 to $14 per pound, and chefs prize it as a luxury green with a soft, buttery texture that holds up beautifully in simple salads. It doesn't need rich soil, it doesn't need space, it's almost never bothered by pests because it grows when pests aren't active. You can even tuck it between dormant crops or into narrow paths. Because nurseries rarely sell mosh starts, the plants are too small and delicate, most gardeners don't even know it exists. But once you grow it, it becomes a quiet, dependable winter staple, and often one of your first crops to sell out. Small crops, real value, a family garden that works year-round. When you look back across all 9 crops, there's a pattern you can't ignore. These aren't the big, flashy garden center plants. They're the ones with low supply, high value, steady demand, and almost no competition from industrial agriculture. They don't ask for acres. They don't require perfect soil. They work in small backyards, patios, basements, or even kitchen shelves. And they quietly turn tiny pockets of space into meaningful food and real income. And here's the part I hope you carry with you. You don't need to grow all 9. Just choose 1 or 2 that match your space, your climate, and your family's rhythms. Learn how they grow, find the customers who love them, and let the experience build naturally. In a world where food prices keep climbing and shelves sometimes look a little thin, it feels good to have a few crops you can rely on. Crops that support your family, connect you to your community, and give your yard a purpose beyond decoration. If you decide to sell any of your harvests, just check your local extension office for simple food handling guidelines. Clean tools, quick cooling, and clear labeling go a long way. And if you want help choosing crops that grow well together, especially vegetables and herbs that boost one another, my book Veggie Matchmakers goes deeper into planning small, productive gardens for real families. It's a gentle next step if you're building a more resilient backyard. For now, start with 1 crop. Learn it, enjoy it, and let your yard quietly start working a little harder for your kitchen. Thanks for spending this time with me. And if you want to grow the kind of long-lasting, low-maintenance crops that quietly build real food security in small spaces, check out our next guide.